Okay, so with the kale, always steam it or blanch it. So today I'm going to blanch it, which means I'm cutting all the leaves off, taking the stalks off, putting it in a colander, boiling the kettle, then pouring the boiled water onto the kale. I actually do that twice. Or you could just do the same, cut the leaves off and steam it in a steamer. There is a good reason for doing this. So kale contains an anti-nutrient called goitrogens. And this is problematic particularly if you have a thyroid problem, because it can impede the uptake of iodine into the thyroid. So you don't want that. I just want to reassure you that it's still okay to eat raw kale, I believe, in say a salad, because there's obviously a lot less kale. And also when you're chewing the kale, the digestive juices in your mouth are going to help break down things like goitrogens. So salads are fine, small amounts. It's just the smoothies and the pestos where you're using a huge amount of kale and taking it in a huge amount. Okay, so the pesto's been blanched. So in this recipe, I'm going to use Parmesan cheese. Okay, so I'm going to add the kale, which is about half of what I blanched. I'm adding garlic. I mean, 2 garlic, but I like a lot of garlic. If you like a lot of garlic, I've probably got about almost 4 there. And about 2 shallots. I've just cut that up. I've also got a little bit of wilted coriander in the fridge, so I'm just going to throw that in. So there's no rules. If you've got wilted anything really, coriander, parsley is a good one. Just throw it in as well. I'm doing lemon juice, so I'm just going to add some salt. Oops, a bit of cayenne pepper, depending on how much you like. I'm going to add cashews to my pesto. So just a little note, this has been soaking for most of the morning. You don't have to necessarily soak it overnight. Overnight's probably the best. 2 reasons for this. Firstly, this kind of breaks down the phytic acid in cashews. It's also in other nuts and legumes and things. Now, phytic acid, if you're getting too much of it, can bind things like iron, magnesium, and calcium. So then they're not absorbed as readily. So soaking's a really good way of reducing the phytic acid component. Looks pretty good. And I actually ended up adding some more olive oil because it was a little bit dry. I ended up making 2, which surprised me because I didn't think I'd use that much kale. What I like to do, so I just pour a little bit of olive oil in the top of the jar just to keep it kind of moist in the fridge. So if you take it out in a few days' time to use and it's quite dry, don't be afraid to put a little bit of olive oil in again. So I'll be doing things like spreading it on flatbread to make like a pizza base, putting it through soups, spreading it on sourdough, spreading it on your piece of steak or chicken, in salads, so many different ways.